Okay, welcome everyone to today's Sunday live stream. My name is Eben, and we're going to be diving in and making some artwork today. First, I do apologize for the reduction in audio quality here today. Um, I'm doing some crazy renovations in my workspace over there, and so I'm just working from my MacBook today. So I'm hoping this is going to work out okay. Um, I actually just have I got a new MacBook here, and I have my old one over on the other side looking at the chat here. So it's kind of a interesting setup, but I'm liking it so far. But yeah, anyway, please do let me know if there are any issues with the stream or the quality or anything like that as I move forward here. But yeah, anyway, I'm hoping to just to get going and do something real casual today. You know, make some kind of landscape or something. Or I really have no idea what I'm going to create. So feel free to drop any requests in the comments or um, any ideas as I move forward here. But I think I'm just going to start out with a quick sketch. And of course, I don't have my music going today either, which feels sort of weird for me. But of course, feel free to play your own music or listen to whatever you want as I go through this. I'll just be talking a little bit about my process and sort of how I get through the various phases of this painting here. So I'm just going to sort of start out with some loose perspective shapes here. Hello, welcome Keldar and Wurzel and Elvi and Lalu. I don't think I've seen you here before. Welcome. Have I done the mandatory mermaid piece yet? I have not. I've been seeing a lot of them, and I guess that's I don't know. I feel like have to say this all the time, but I'm not like very privy to art trends and like what's happening. I guess I should be, because I'm always trying to expand my social media presence as well. But Inktober, and I guess the mermaid thing is a May thing. You like make a mermaid every day for the month of May. That's kind of cool. I think that's what it is. I've been seeing some really great stuff posted online, people submitting things for that, but I haven't done it myself. Honestly, I'm not, I don't know. I've already started the sketch, but maybe we can work it in somehow. We'll see. See how it goes here. I'm just gonna kind of stick with what I know for now, because this I'm a little bit out of my comfort zone with this new setup here. But so I'm just gonna kind of go with my gut, and make some kind of sweeping, exaggerated perspective landscape here. Looks like we've got kind of a road coming out of the left corner here, and then we'll have some kind of distant thing happening over there. Maybe we can exaggerate our horizon line a little bit too. This is something I've been messing around with a little bit. Not always using a straight horizon line. It's sort of exaggerating that perspective even more, even with these distant objects. Create something really big looking. It's 12 a.m. Wow, that's commitment. I appreciate you coming out here and joining me for this stream. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't always get everyone in who wants to see this. Of course, there are people all over the world and in different time zones, so it is what it is. But I've thought about maybe switching it up every now and then to get some of those people in Australia and Asia on the other side of the world, see if they can get in here. But for now, I prefer the consistency. So. But yeah, see, I'm curving the horizon line in sort of a concave way. If I were looking down, I would curve it in a convex way. But this is kind of like sort of like a fisheye lens effect. You know, if you're looking at something through a GoPro and you look up, the horizon line is going to curve upward, and if you look downward, it's going to curve downward. And that's just an exaggerated field of view effect, and it can really give your piece a dramatic look. It can also allow you to include more elements in the piece and sort of stuff more into your canvas that you otherwise might not be able to with a very sort of flat perspective. So nice. Welcome, Rashakan. I don't think I've seen you here. Nice of you to join us. But yeah, I'm kind of using that exaggerated perspective and everything I'm putting down here. You know, my foreground shapes are sort of curving inward towards the bottom, and then, you know, as we go up along the canvas, things start to sort of curve inwards towards the top. And then, of course, I don't want to make it too obvious, so I'm just going to vary some of these shapes up a little bit. But that's sort of what I'm going to do with the sketch here. I'm pretty sure I know what my idea is at this point. But I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of just enjoying sketching. Maybe I won't go into color today. Maybe I'll just do a nice drawing. Although I already did that this week with some of those traditional thumbnail sketches. I don't know if you've checked that video out, but I released that on last Wednesday, and people seem to be really enjoying that one. It's just sort of like a time lapse of me doing some thumbnail sketches in my sketchbook, so yeah, I guess I've been doing a bit more sketching recently. So maybe we'll see. We'll see where this one goes. Once again, I'm just going to kind of follow my gut here, but I don't think I've ever actually done a live stream though where I didn't go into color in some way. So I don't know. Maybe we can just do some drawing today. It's a good skill to develop independent of your painting, and you know, the great thing about working digitally is you can just you can do both fairly easily, and you can kind of switch between them as you need. But sometimes it's just a bit easier to sort of flesh out your idea with just a drawing. Nice. I'm glad you enjoyed that video, Wurzel. Yeah, I think a lot of people found it very relaxing. I definitely found it relaxing when I was making those sketches. It doesn't look that way because with the time lapse, everything goes pretty quickly. I thought that was really cool too. I've never actually tried doing that with a video before, or like taking a video of a sketch process and then speeding it up like that. But it's very cool, and like the sounds, like when I'm doing the shading, I don't know, I love that. It's very satisfying. I actually had to watch that one a couple times myself, even after editing it and uploading it, because I loved that. It's like watching a machine create these drawings for me. Pretty cool. Yeah, and I've also noticed. I mean, it's I think it's probably about time I upgrade my tablet as well. I've been using this. I don't know if you can see here. I've been using this Huon it's this cheap one I got off Amazon. It's just like I'm definitely at the point where I should be using something a little bit more quality, but it does okay, you know. Oh, what am I? Okay, option is alt. I'm still getting used to the Mac keys here too, but yeah. Anyway, I definitely noticed, like, going back from my sketchbook to working on this thing, I was like, ugh, this feels kind of plasticky, you know. It's not quite the same. So probably due for an upgrade there at some point soon. Yeah, sharpening the pencil with a knife. That's great. Yeah, that's also very satisfying to do. But yeah, it looks really funny when it's sped up. Just like, you know. Yeah, I actually, I usually use a pencil sharpener, but I couldn't find it. So I gotta get one of those as well. But the knife works pretty well. You just have to have a fairly sharp one, you know. But um, I don't know. That's just part of the process that I really love about sketching too. Is it's just like, it's not just about putting the marks down. It's about the whole ritual around it, you know. And it's the same with the oil paints, and I've really got to break those out again too. And I know Jose's been requesting a live oil painting demo for a while now, so I have to figure out how I'm gonna go about that technically first, you know. Um, but I would really like to do that. Maybe even outside, do some like plein air stuff. I don't know if I can do that if I don't have the greatest cell reception here, so I don't think I could stream with that. But maybe just out in the yard here. It's been getting really nice, really beautiful lately. It's been warming up quite a bit, so I've been doing some outside sketching. I did. Someone actually left a comment about this a while ago, and I didn't know at the time because they were basically asking me. So I made this iPad unboxing video that for some reason it has become very popular on the channel. Probably just because it was a new model and like people want to see what it's all about. But yeah, I made that, and then somebody asked if I had done any plein air stuff with it yet, because that was kind of part of my intention with getting it. Was like, it has a higher lumens output, better battery life, and those were kind of like the biggest obstacles to me digital painting outside. Was like, you know, the glare, even in the shade. Like my old iPad, it just wasn't really holding up in terms of, you know, brightness, and so I did try it. It does okay. Honestly, it's still not great. I brought the new iPad out on a walk with me. It's good for sketching, for sure, because you can see the white space of the page much better. In terms of painting, the contrast, it gets a little bit hard to read, especially if there's inconsistent lighting, and definitely not like if there's direct light hitting the iPad, it's not really going to work. In the shade, it does work fairly well, and that might be a possibility. But yeah, I was I guess, you know, a little disappointed by that, but you know, it's not a huge deal, and it's really great for sketching still anyway. And if I want to do some plein air painting, I've probably just gotta break out the oils again and get that stuff set up. But yeah, this is starting to look like it's just gonna be, I don't know. Let's see. I'm just enjoying this sketching. I'm just using the pencil from my brush pack, by the way. It's, you know, it's simple. I with my brush pack, I try not to make too many brushes or make it too complicated. I've just sort of worked and continue to work all the time on refining the ones that I have. So I just want to improve the quality of the brush, and not just like create a pack that's gonna just overwhelm you with like 200 different choices. I could never do that. There are some amazing brushes out there, but like they come in these packs of like 200, and I just don't know what to do with that. So like with that in mind, that's kind of what I wanted to do with this pack. Is just like just keep it simple. It's like 30 brushes, and oh, what did I do there? Okay. Dang, Mac shortcuts. Yeah, it's like 30 brushes, and they're just the one pencil, but I really like it. I worked hard on it, getting it nice and so that it sort of matches the feel of what I'm used to as close as possible with traditional sketching. And the same kind of applies to all these other brushes as well. They're just simple, well developed singular brushes to sort of closely match the more traditional style. So anyway, yeah, if you haven't checked that out already, you can find the link to that below in the description there. But yeah, I'm just using this one, and I really don't use too many different brushes. And actually, someone was asking about that in the Discord channel. But if you haven't joined that, also you can find that link in the description down there too. It's been growing slowly but steadily for a few months now, and it's a great community of artists and other people too, some writers and just people that have been following my work and who want to learn more about artwork and share ideas and share inspiration and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. But anyway, yes, someone was asking me if, someone posed a question in the chat this morning, I think, asking if, what was it? I think they were asking if brushes matter, or something like that, or like how important are brushes in digital painting. And it's a great question, and I think a question that a lot of people have when they're starting out, or if they're I don't know, generally. I mean, it's something I ask myself all the time. How important are these brushes? Because sometimes I feel like I really have a good groove down with my style, and then I see some other artist. It's one I discovered recently. I think it's Ruan Jia. He's just like, it's my new obsession. I just love, and it's cool because he's using this like old master style of like Sargent and like a lot of the Renaissance painters. He studied all those old oil paintings really closely, and he's brought that style into his digital painting, and but with these like really great fantasy and sci-fi concept art pieces. And I watched a talk from him on ArtStation, and I've just been kind of really enjoying his work since then. But it seems like a lot of the brushes he uses are some of that is it's his stylistic choice, but like I kind of want to find out what he's using now, so I can kind of try to maybe emulate some of that, maybe bring some of that into my own brush pack as well. But yeah, anyway, as far as brushes go, yeah, I mean, like I said, I try to keep it really simple. Usually in one piece, I probably won't use more than like 5, maybe 10 at the most. And for most of my workflow, I'm probably using 2 or 3. I like to switch between. I have my mixer brush and my regular brush hotkeyed to different keys. So I have my regular brush on B, and then I have my mixer brush on A. Well, it doesn't really show on the sketch, but I like to switch back and forth between those, and I have, in the brush pack, I have a few different variations of mixer brushes and traditional brushes, or not traditional brushes, and like more digital brushes. Um, but for the most part, I usually will I'll just like switch between a couple different digital brushes and then just use my mixer brush here to kind of lose some of those edges and sort of work between them. And then I'll use the eraser too, especially during the sketch phase or if I'm making a silhouette. But I don't think brushes are that important. I mean, there's been this whole like the round brush challenge. I don't know if you've seen that. I feel like that in itself is evidence that brushes really don't matter that much because like these really great artists are using just a simple round brush with like a bit of transparency, maybe with like a hard edge on it, not like a soft round. Um, that's the only thing where I would say like maybe don't use that as I would never use the soft round brush as my only brush because you want to have crisp edges, and the soft round brush just looks super digital. It's like it's always pretty obvious, but yeah, I don't think brushes matter too much. Sometimes they're going to help you, or sometimes they're going to inspire you to create something new, or to vary up your style a little bit. So it's great to experiment with them and to constantly be trying new ones or like modifying existing ones, or sort of managing your workflow in that way to just to inspire yourself and to try some new things and experiment a little bit. But are they going to make, is like that new brush pack going to make your art better? No, not necessarily. It's just a new tool for you to use, and it's all about how you use it. For me, I think what's most important is just simplifying my process, and so that's where I think brushes can even get in the way sometimes. Like I was saying, if you download a pack and it's like, like 200 really high, really, like specific brushes with like different, at like a leaf brush and a water brush and like a rock brush, and I do have like basically like one of each of those in my pack, but that's about it. And honestly, I rarely use them. So it's I just find a few that I really like and I just go with it. Let me check out the chat here. The pencil sounded like the wings of a bird fluttering. Wow, that is incredibly poetic. What kind of tablet do I use? Right. I threw it up on the screen here, but it's just a Huon. What is it? Huon Inspiroi, the dial version. So it's like I think this was like $100 maybe, and I've put tape on all the buttons. I would probably do that for any tablet, but just so I remember how I'm using them. I actually don't honestly use these buttons much. I mostly just use the keys. But it's okay actually. For what it is, it's good. Like I've had a bunch of different Huon tablets, and like they're cheap, and they get the job done. There's it's not glitchy or anything, or like it just kind of feels a little light and cheap in your hands, and the texture's okay. Like with this one, actually, it's a bit more. There's a bit more resistance than there was in the last one I had, the much cheaper model. But it's really like it's the one thing that's been lagging behind. I've upgraded my computer, my setup, and like a lot of other things. But I think this is going to be the next big expense. Yeah, I would. They're expensive though. I mean, it's for like for. I've never had the ones that you draw directly on. I just use my my iPad Pro for that. Which I enjoy a lot, and that's what I use actually for most of my work these days. But yeah, I would love to get a Cintiq. Those look really great, and it sounds like it's a really high quality product and a great drawing surface and everything. And of course, it's cool to be able to draw directly on to the surface as well. Um, you know, but yeah, and that's another important question too. How much does your tablet matter? I think that's a bit more important than brushes. I would say, because you really want that's like uh, your whole tactile experience. Is what is the tablet you're using, and um, so yeah, I would say if you're gonna make an investment, don't skip on the tablet. Of course, um, which I really should live by myself, but yeah, I mean like this is a good model for like I think for anyone really, no matter what your skill level is. It's pretty light and convenient. I can just throw it in my bag if I want to go work at a coffee shop, which I'm really really itching to do these days, and like things are just starting to open up a little bit here again. But I think everything's still um, everyone's still masking indoors and everything. And but I used to really enjoy working at coffee shops and that kind of stuff, and so it's nice to be able to just throw this in my bag. And now with like using my MacBook, I can do that a little bit easier as well. Um, oh, weird, my navigator wasn't catching up with me. That's strange. Um, but can't remember where I was going with that. Yeah. Um, oh, welcome, AM. Got a lot of new people in here today. That's cool. I appreciate that. I've just been kind of rambling about my setup here, but um, pretty much all I'm just sort of free forming this sketch here. I don't have a huge plan with it. I'm just sort of enjoying making all these different objects and sort of articulating this environment a little further, which is I think what's really great about sketch phase. I'm kind of getting to the point where like if I wanted to develop this into a painting, I would probably move on and do that, because the more time you put in your sketch phase, for me it's a little harder to paint after that if um, you've put a lot of time into your sketch. It leaves you a little bit of inflexibility later on, um, but I'm just enjoying this process, so I'm going to keep doing it. But yeah, probably going to try to grab some kind of Wacom in the future. I think Ergo Josh just did a video on some new tablet company. I didn't catch the whole video. I sort of skipped through it a little bit, but that like that apparently is a worthy competitor to the Wacom, but it's kind of like I said, I don't think it matters too much. But I'll probably invest a little bit more in my next tablet setup here. Cintiq would be awesome. Those are like I don't know, like 800 something like that for the 16-inch version. Which I would definitely not need a 32-inch. I mean that would be awesome, but I don't really have I don't really have the space for it. Hey, what's up, Sahiro? I was actually just answering your question from the chat earlier about brushes, and I don't want to repeat myself for everyone else who heard me ramble on about that for for a while, but you can check that out in the replay. For now, a lot of what I'm doing with this sketch is trying to maximize overlaps. I'm getting a little bit complicated with my shapes and everything. I might try to simplify that as I move forward here, especially like this area. I think just it's getting a little bit complex. I'm just going to do something like that. Anyway, I'm trying to create a lot of overlap. It's going to help create more depth in my painting or my drawing, whatever it is. And then I'm just sort of solidifying this path. I'm going to create a nice, and like this, I just want to highlight something for a little learning moment here. Like this. Oh my God, Mac shortcuts. What am I doing here? Control D. All right. This section right here, this is not. It's not great. It's a very like repetitive zigzag shape. It's too consistent. It's too even. So I want to sort of take that from this to maybe something like, this with more variation of big, medium, small shapes instead of just that same consistent medium-sized shape. So just a little learning moment for you there. Let's go back to this color here. Fix my mic. Might be able to. Let me try something here. I can probably turn down the I can turn off the limiter here. That might help. Yeah, thanks for like. Oops, that's not good. Okay, that should be better. Thanks for thanks for letting me know about any sound issues. Like I said, I'm trying a new setup here just with my MacBook. So it's a little different, a little poor quality overall, but hopefully the screen quality is still coming through just as well, which is what's really important here. Yeah, kind of. I guess I lost that horizon line a little bit. Maybe I'm gonna just to make sure I'm keeping this perspective. I just want to create some big cloud shapes here, just to sort of exaggerate that a little bit. So there's not much sky to work with here, but I'll use what I can. And like everywhere where we're looking up, I want to have that path cut off a little bit. I want to have you won't be able to see the top of the road here. You'll just be able to see the plane of the hill in front of it. So I'm actually going to change these shapes, make them more convex. And then there's a little bit of that zigzag left down here, so I'm going to scrap that. I'm actually just going to simplify that entire shape, make it easier for myself and my viewer, which is you guys, to process this visually. When in doubt, simplify. Maybe we could do like a multiple part series with this one. I think that could be kind of cool. Where like this today I start out with with a bit of a sketch, and then next week we can sort of go into the underpainting phase, and like actually instead of just doing like, all right, let's make a whole painting in 2 hours. Just sort of slowly build it up over time and actually get it to like a nice finished state, like something I would put in my portfolio. you know. Um, so leave a comment. Let me know if that's something you would want to see, versus just the usual finish something in 2 hours live stream. Uh, and if that's something you want to see, let me know, because that could be kind of cool. A nice way to switch it up and have make a whole series out of it. And then you guys could see like every phase of the painting, not just like me rushing through it all and sort of. But not that I'm generally rushing, but I do modify my process based on how long I expect to work on something. So, for my live streams, it's a little bit of a different workflow than what I would be doing for like a work for a client. It's much more sort of there's a bit more planning, a bit more time spent during this sketch phase, during the idea generation. I mean, usually what I would start out with is something like, those thumbnails I started out with earlier this week, but maybe even spending a bit more time on that, getting all those ideas together. But yeah, let me know if that's something that interests you. And of course, the perspective I'm using for this castle up here, it's like, I have this angle here, clearly shows that we're looking up from underneath. We're seeing only the sides of the object. We're not seeing the top of it at all. It's a really great way to indicate perspective. I might go in there, zoom in actually and do some detailing there, but for now I'm going to actually focus on, I'd like to develop this foreground a little bit more. Maybe, I don't know, what should we put in here? Could throw in a character, just leave it as is. Could have a bunch of people. We could have maybe a small sort of band of I want to switch it up, this is, right now, this is very, I'm a little too comfortable with this whole setup. I want to sort of push my limits a little bit. Maybe we can have a whole bunch of, I mean, this could get really complex, but we could have a whole bunch of soldiers or something, marching, not just one, or maybe we could have one guy, we could have one guy up here, sort of like the commander, just sort of looking out. I don't know if that's exactly where I want to put him, but I don't want him to be right in the way of the road. Probably off to the side a little bit more, actually. Maybe he can be a little bit smaller, maybe over here, or maybe like right here. Just gonna. This is my my shorthand for a person. It's just this. This is it's like a, I don't know, just a little Luke guy. Maybe he can be sort of commanding them forward, right? That's pretty cool. That's a cool idea. Sort of his knee out on a rock, something like that. It's funny, I don't know if you're seeing this, my navigator is like lagging behind me, which is pretty strange. I mean, like, everything seems great performance-wise, but it doesn't totally update quite as often. Maybe that's a setting in Photoshop somewhere. Yeah, we could do some horses. Man, I am usually not. He could have a horse. We can put this guy on a horse. He's actually all kind of already looking like he's on one. That is outside of my comfort zone. I'll be honest. No, I did a stream a little while ago where I had a horse, um, and it was like, I mean, it was okay. You can see that, but I just threw it in at the end, right? And I didn't really I didn't really draw its legs. I just made a bunch of blurry marks, and I was like, oh, I'm creating a lost edge, But I was really just being lazy, which is one use for lost edges for sure. Is if you're lazy and you don't want to paint something, they can come in handy there. But I think for this one, I want to be a bit more deliberate about it, and of course, and do what I usually recommend to people, which is just if you encounter something that you're having difficulty drawing or painting, just go find a good reference. So that's if I encounter struggles with this one, that's probably what I'm going to do. But this is just a sketch for now, so I'm not too concerned about it. Yeah, his sword is he's charging them forward, but he's also pointing up at the castle. Isn't that convenient? Nice little design element. I'm just gonna modify this hill a bit though, so it's not completely running into his hand. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter so much, but that's just a weird tangent there. I'd rather not have. Cool. I'm liking this idea. I'm liking this composition. I feel like every time, and this is useful for you as well if you're an artist. I feel like whenever I push myself out of my comfort zone a little bit, it doesn't have to be all the way, but with every painting, try to do something new. Try to switch it up a little bit. Try something that you're not totally comfortable with, because when you sort of get in that sweet spot between like the same painting I do every day and something really new and interesting and challenging, that's really where you can learn quite a bit. So anyway, let's get back to these soldiers here. And so this is important too. I mean, how I approach this, like if I'm making a small crowd. I did this in my another stream several weeks back. It was probably a couple of months ago now, actually. But it's the one with the sort of like sci-fi like hunter character standing over the crowded marketplace, and that creating a crowd is sort of like a different. You have to be careful about how you go about it, because you don't want to necessarily draw out every individual person, all of their individual features. You just want to highlight what's important. And honestly, this isn't something I'm totally used to with sketching, so we're going to kind of see how that goes. But I'm just going to start with like the simplest shapes here. Maybe we can make them even smaller. Like this can be sort of almost a cliff or a high hill looking out over this road. Maybe we can have our scale drop down a little lower than what I was initially planning, just to increase the scale even more. So we're just gonna. I'm kind of using this. Just gonna do a little shorthand for a horse and a rider here. I'm just gonna create this sort of box for the horse, and then that same little loop for the rider. And that can just be our starting point. They're going to get a little bigger as they come around the path here. Maybe there's a wagon here, or some kind of siege equipment. It seems like they're getting ready to attack this place. So I'm assuming they are they're equipped for war here. Got some kind of, I don't know, maybe a catapult or something here. That's being dragged by 2 horses. Some other horses and riders up ahead, or maybe they're, maybe they're refugees or something, or they're fleeing from, some other battle. These are things to think about. It's not something I have to decide right now, necessarily, but eventually. It's going to be worth thinking about because it's going to affect our presentation, So, as this crowd sort of recedes along this path, I'm just going to make it a little less detailed. I don't need to go in there and create all the individual people necessarily, but and then this can be even more of a sort of a heightened foreground. And I'm going to curve this foreground plane in a little bit, have it meet more around like the 70% mark here at the edge of the canvas. It doesn't matter that much if it was over here or over here, but it's just going to give us a little bit of a wider space to develop this crowd here. But you definitely don't want it to connect like right here, somewhere in the corner, kind of like I'm doing over here. But it's actually, this is where the object is going to connect. So they're coming in through this big tunnel or valley or something, with these big rock formations, and they're headed along this path towards the castle. That's it. It's a simple concept, and at this point, it's time to figure out how exactly we're going to articulate all of that. And we have some complex stuff happening. Like this is the bottom left corner. We don't want to have too much focus in that area or too much detail. So I would say when I actually go out and render this in more detail, I'm going to have most of my detail in this crowd focused around this sort of quadrant here, around that sort of rule of thirds mark, and a little bit. I'm going to lose some detail or at least some contrast down towards this corner, because I just don't want to draw the eye out that way. I can even use some lighting coming in to highlight this area too. So we can sort of have that as a starting point. We'll have a lot of different starting points to get into this painting. We can come in from the right side here, see this figure, he's pointing up to the castle, and then these big sort of landscape objects bring us down along this path or around the edge here, or that kind of thing. We could start over here and see this really interesting area there, and then follow that towards the path up to the castle and then back down. There's just a lot of good flow we're setting up here. Hey Nick, welcome. Good to see you here. I'm doing a sketch today, and I was just talking to these folks about maybe doing sort of a multiple part series for these live streams moving forward. Because I'm really in a sketching mood today, and I realized I haven't done that much during my live streams, and also you guys haven't had much of an opportunity to see kind of like a full process of what I might do for a more well-developed painting beyond like the roughly 2 hours I usually devote to these live streams. So yeah, let me know if that's something you're interested in as well. Of course, I want to make stuff that you guys enjoy. That seems like a nice idea from my perspective, but I don't know, what do you guys prefer? Like the quick streams with a finished painting, or maybe something a bit more? I've done a few that were like multi-part series. I think I did that for a couple character pieces because those tend to tend to take a little bit longer for me usually. It's hard to do a character speed painting, as I'm sure many of you may know. Um, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. At the very least today, I think I'm just going to stick with sketching since I've come this far. It's probably a little bit late to start in with the painting process. Maybe we could do a little bit of coloration, but I think for now, we can have some kind of dusty clouds happening around here. And of course, I'm sketching, so the shorthand for that is like this little, this little cloudy thing. But when I actually paint it, it'll be a lot more, atmospheric. Some lost edges there. I'm gonna start thinking about how I can highlight these characters against that atmosphere too. Figure out which shapes I want to draw more attention to, that kind of stuff. Of course, it's all a little bit messy here at this point, but that's the great thing about sketching. You can be super messy about it, and then you can just keep erasing and keep refining. Of course, if you're working traditionally, the erasing isn't quite as effective. So, that's what I definitely found with that thumbnailing process I was doing earlier. You can use what I was doing mostly there was using the eraser as a tool for highlighting. So what I did was I don't know if you saw in the beginning, but I toned each rectangle with a little bit of graphite first, so I could actually erase away some of those highlights if I needed to. I don't know, or if you're using toned paper too, which I really enjoy. I actually haven't done that in a while, but that's really great. Use toned paper and then use a white pencil to bring out your highlights. That's really great too. But in either case, it's a little bit less forgiving as far as erasing things, So, but with my digital process, I use the eraser. I kind of have this back and forth, even when especially if I'm like painting a silhouette or something like of this character here. I'll often do kind of a back and forth between defining the shape of the silhouette and then sort of using the eraser to harden up those edges or to create a bit more definition. So, and that's what I do with my digital sketching process as well here. Is just sort of this back and forth between erasing away, some of these rougher lines and then coming back in with something a bit more solid here. Oh, nice. Yeah, Nick, you've been doing some great work for the evident challenges there. That's really cool to see, see you being so active about that. Yeah, for the rest of you, if you guys haven't already, you should check out the Evident platform. We do weekly challenges there every Friday. It's like a new prompt. So if you're looking for kind of a nice excuse to have like a weekly practice and to get some feedback, from other artists and your peers and stuff, and just to sort of get engaged with that community, it's a great place. I'm not sure if I've included a link to that, but you can just find it at evident.com. You can find them on Instagram and Facebook as well. There's a great Evident design group on Facebook, but the platform is really where those challenges are being hosted and everything. So check that out. It's a lot of fun. Should probably do a little bit more work. Honestly, I think I'm going to take back what I said about that foreground earlier. I'm going to kind of like that flowy shape there. A bit longer, a little bit less dramatic, but sort of framing everything really nicely. keep pressing Command for my color picker. I'm used to the Alt key being right next to the spacebar there. But I'm going to kind of just sort of define some of the shapes a little bit more. I don't have to get too detailed with this, but I'm probably just going to simplify a lot of this. Another thing I can do is I can reduce the values of this whole layer and then go in with a darker sketch value to create some depth. So maybe I'll do that a little bit. Since we're working on sketching, I can just show you what I would typically do to develop this a little bit further. So I'm just lightening this up a little bit, and then I can go back in with maybe a bit more clarity. We could even use my ink brush if we want to be super precise about it. Where is it? Maybe I don't have the. Oh, this is an old version of my brush pack here. All right, we can use this one instead. Maybe it's a little bit heavy, but I think it works for sketching too. Yeah. So we can just start to refine this a little bit more and really think carefully about our shapes here. Like even in these small areas here, I'm trying to maximize my overlap. Every time a shape overlaps with another shape in your image, you're just increasing that depth even more. I'm also trying to keep the perspective here, keep that on point. I'm not doing so much sketching down here towards the bottom because I think a lot of that's going to be taken care of with some textural stuff later, maybe even some photo textures. There's really, I mean, I guess I could create some rocks and some flowers and stuff like that. It could be kind of fun. But for the most part, I don't think it's totally necessary at this point. All right, here we go. Let's dive into this horse detailing a little bit. So one thing I always remember about horses is they have this big like jaw circle thing. It's a very distinct horse feature. Kind of looks like a donkey right now. I'm not sure why. Yeah, those nice, powerful chest muscles there. This guy's got some yes, Nick. I remember you've been requesting that for a little while. This could definitely. I don't think it's going to be a battle piece per se, but there's definitely an army element here. This is either going to be an army or
some kind of caravan or like mass migration. But I like the army idea. I like the idea of this being like the precipice of a battle. So um, we're gonna go with that absolutely. Maybe we can make it. We could make a whole storyline here. You know, we could make one of the of this scene here, and then um, do another one later of the actual battle. All kinds of cool stuff we can do. Not so sure about that. And should probably do this on a different layer, but that doesn't matter. I think that horse's neck is a little bit short. I don't know, we'll see. Ah, the legs. Bane of my existence. I'm not going to do the legs right now. I'll do some of the legs. It's going to be kind of simplified version here. Yeah, I should do more horse studies. That's what this is telling me. Kind of looks like a... I don't know. I guess it's okay. I feel like I'm using more like cat anatomy. This is like a very cat-like horse. I don't know why. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about that too much at the moment, but got this cape coming out here. Got this dude. He can have a cool helmet. Something like a crown. Maybe he's a king. Or some kind of crazy knight. That's cool. Adjust his legs a little bit there. I think he's really big for the size of his horse. I think that's what's happening here. I'm gonna have to find a good reference for this one at some point because it's all looking super weird. But for now, let me just take this guy. Yeah, I definitely should have done this on a different layer. Oh, whatever. Let's just shrink it down a little bit. There we go. There you go, buddy. Nice. That's better. Hello, Carol. Welcome. And welcome, Karnav. Glad to hear you are sketching as well. Belly is too thin, huh? Well, he can be a starving horse. Maybe that's his thing, you know? Yeah, I'm definitely like feeling my discomfort with this particular subject, which is awesome. Because I know that I'm going to have to practice this week. But yeah, I'm not gonna worry about that too much at the moment. For now, we'll just know that there's a rider there. And he's got a weird donkey, cat, horse thing. That for some reason keeps getting smaller as I continue to draw it. Alright, let's just stretch those legs out a bit there. That's probably it too. That's a good point. His legs have been very short. Horses are tall. I'm just gonna have this rock hiding the horse's legs, so I don't have to draw them. Boom. Solution. All right, moving on. All right, let's go over here. Got some nice rocks. I'm going to kind of start defining some of these boundaries a little bit, making sure my shapes are cool. I mean, at this point, I could probably dive in and start painting, but I mean, I guess I could have done that at any point. There's never really a right time for it, but it's all up to you. I don't think this is necessary. We can just have a single shape here. Do something like that. A rock with a little cleft in the middle. Probably go for a little bit of a lighter value. And go through some of these shapes here. Solidify them a little bit. Oh, I like that. Path is not only changing direction, but angle and elevation. You can show that with just a slight little change right there. It's going to make it look much more three-dimensional. We'll make sure it doesn't get too wide also as we go into the distance here. Notice once again I'm kind of approaching that like consistent zigzag pattern I want to avoid, so I'm just going to shorten that particular zag. I don't know if it's a zig or a zag, but one of them. I'm going to lighten my value up even more. I'm not sure I like what I did to that shape there. Let's just simplify this even more. It's another great thing about this sketching phase too, is it gives you a lot of opportunity to plan and simplify your shapes. You can also create some lines of directionality here and there, just to sort of show, you know, what direction your planes are facing. It's a good sort of note to make for yourself here and there. Hey there, Ajla, I think that's right. Welcome. Just doing a little bit of sketching today. Leaning towards picking this up next week and doing starting a little painting from this. Oh yeah, I'm looking at this horse again. That's real rough. Oh man, I have to try to fix this before I wrap this up today. I would like to make this somewhat passable. So I'm going to simplify once again. We can pull that belly out a little bit. It's a well-fed horse. It's going to be my my homework for this week, though. Maybe like a horse and rider combined study. See if I can find a good reference picture of that. Unfortunately, that is not something that I can create a reference of myself. I do not have access to a horse, nor do I know how to ride one. Although I'd like to. I'd like to learn that, but not going to do it for this particular project here. All right, close enough. I'll have to leave it. Make a little shadow here and there too. Help sculpt these forms. So notice there are actually, there are like, I don't know, 10 different, overlapping planes here. You have this one here, we have this one here. We have this foreground here. Well, it's like kind of a midground, but it's a mid-foreground. And then we have these here. Those are overlapping. This distant plane. There's a lot of overlapping here, and it's really helping us create a bit of depth here. Add some nice clouds up here. Whoops. Like that. All right, and of course, I could sort of dive down a road of doing a bit more, detailing in some of these characters and objects down here. I think I'm not going to get into that today so much because there's a lot of that we could do sort of later on in the process through various painting and texturing techniques to sort of develop that a little bit more efficiently without going in there and planning every single element there. But I think for today, I'm going to call it. I think this is a really nice composition so far. It's a great idea. Thanks to all of you who kind of helped formulate this idea and who have put in requests, either on the Discord channel or here during the streams for future content. I think what I'm going to do is pick this up next week. We're just going to pick up where we left off and move into the painting process. Create an underpainting, talk a little bit about how to sculpt light and shadow in this environment, and then how to maybe create some of these figures and these individual elements in more of a shorthand way, so we don't have to go out and paint every single detail there, and really just tackle the most important elements. But yeah, thank you all for joining me today, and once again, I apologize for the any reduction in quality as far as audio and everything, but I'll have my old setup back and running for next week. And so, yeah, I'm excited to keep going with this. Thank you all for joining. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. That would help me out quite a bit. And of course, you get to see awesome live streams I do every Sunday, as well as new videos, art tutorials, time-lapse stuff that I release every Wednesday. So keep an eye out for that this week, and hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Until next time, take care.